Like the creative bicycle.
La
Because
bicicleta creativa.
bicicleta.
Bicicleta.
Like a bicycle, yes.
Yes. La bicicleta. Bicicleta.
It's amazing.
Bicicleta.
¿Qué nos impulsa a crear? ¿Cuán lejos podemos ir hasta encontrar lo que necesitamos como artistas? Quizás haya una o más respuestas, pero me interesa que juntos exploremos el camino. Mi nombre es Ramiro AMK Fernández y este podcast se llama La Bicicleta Creativa.
Today's guest is Tim Miller. He's the co-founder of Blur Studio and a director known for Deadpool and Terminator Dark Fate. With a background in animation and visual effects, he created striking sequences for the films like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He co-created Netflix Emmy-winning anthology Love, Death and Robots and developed Secret Level for Amazon Prime, continuing to push the boundaries of storytelling and technology. Today, we'll talk about his creative process. Welcome back to a new episode of La Bicicleta Creativa. My name is Ramiro AMK Fernández, and I'm super excited because today we are live at Mundos Digitales, one of the greatest events in all Europe regarding VFX, animation, and new media.
Why are you doing this in English?
Because I will do with
Oh,
with
okay,
you.
okay. Sorry, go ahead. I
No.
thought it was being
Do you-
condescending.
no. Do you prefer Spanish or
No.
prefer Portuguese?
No, yes. Can you do it in Japanese?
Yes.
Yes.
私の名前はラミロです。
Oh, that was impressive.
Hey!
I was fucking with you, but that was...
So I'm super excited also because, spoiler alert, I have here a great director, producer, and founder of a very sharp studio.
Oh, really? Who's
Called-
coming?
called-
I'm
I don't
kidding.
know. This guy? Like a founder of Blur. So let's welcome Tim Miller. How are you, Tim?
I'm good, thank you. Happy to be here.
Have you been before in Mundos Digitales?
I have not. It is a year of like new European festivals. We were at Annecy a few weeks ago, which
Okay.
was amazing. The first time I've ever been to Annecy.
Oh,
and it's the
beautiful.
first time I've been here.
And what is your like?
It's a beautiful city. They said small city, but it's not a small city. It
No.
feels like a big city.
And
but
what do you feel-
not my first time in Spain. But
Okay, where have you been before?
we shot a big part of Terminator Dark Fate here in Spain. So I was in Madrid and Murcia for
beautiful.
for months. We were here like 3 months.
So far the event.
Oh, I
Could
love
you
it.
Say something.
It's
about
great. Yeah. I think that these events are, to me, when I was getting into the industry, that you feel like you're joining maybe a cult or a religious order or a fraternity or a sorority of artists, and that's kind of one of the best reasons to be in this business. Which it makes it kind of sad lately because with all COVID and work for home, and you have all these young artists who didn't experience that the camaraderie of working with a team of artists, which is really the best part of being in the industry, I think.
Yeah, and for me this is beautiful because this podcast started with in the pandemic times, but my dream was this: talking with another human being.
Yeah,
Like,
it's tough.
taking advantage of being alive and being like close.
Yeah.
So let me explain you a little bit the dynamic of this podcast.
Okay.
So, after watching all your work and what I felt, etc., I carefully thought in a word that could be the Kickstarter for our conversation to talk
Okay.
about creative process. Sounds good?
Sure.
Okay. So the word for you is
Masturbation. No, that's not it.
not now.
I just took a guess.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
just a guess.
very close,
Okay,
very
okay,
close.
yeah, close.
Fragmented.
Fragmented.
So,
Okay.
what are your thoughts about it?
Someone I read in someone talking about my career. It was an article about Love, Death and Robots, and they said the strange and weird career of Tim Miller. And I thought, it didn't seem strange to me. It seems perfectly natural. But maybe that's what when you say fragmented, that's what you mean, because I do a bunch of different things instead of focusing on one thing.
Because a lot of reasons. First, because being an adult is being fragmented.
it's been a bit broken, that you learn like that you could achieve a lot of dreams. You have to give up a lot of dreams. You lose people that you love, etc. And you're doing something with your pieces. And adult animation for me is something beautiful. Thanks for that, and thanks for heavy metal. I mean in general. So exploring that is something like truly profound. That the genre, but being like fragmented with complex feelings. So what could you say about that?
I guess I mean, maybe it's a thing that you could only notice from the outside, because inside, I've never felt fragmented. I think one of the reasons to do animation is so you don't have to face the real issues that most adults have to. It's not entirely true. You have to deal with some of it, but I never take it too seriously. I think there's something wrong with me, honestly, like emotionally, or maybe because I don't feel stressed the way I think normal people do. I don't worry about things the way I think some people do. I always felt like if something goes wrong and I fuck this up, then what's going to happen? I mean, I still feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world, even to have lasted as long as this. If it all went sideways tomorrow, I still got more than my fair share of cool things accomplished, far more than I thought. You know, I didn't have any dreams of doing this. It wasn't like I just wanted to animate. You know,
Okay. Like being present, doing what you love.
Yes, and in the early years of doing it, I thought this is what I want to do the rest of my life. If I ever have to stop animating, if I'm ever off the box, like if I'm not doing it, then I thought, well, I'll change it up. I'll quit and do something else. Of course, I didn't, and I'm not on the box anymore, and haven't been for a long time. But I miss that process of it. But then you find other things that give you the same thrill, you know.
Okay. And also thinking in Love, Death and Robots, Secret Level, and all of that, you are producing. You are like making the scripts. You are directing sometimes. So I thought that is like being fragmented and switching context in a lot of like different stories, different thematics, different studios, different aesthetics. So I want to ask you what feels that level of craziness, and also if that multiple things create a feedback loop between them, and you could have like a beautiful idea from one project to apply to another, that kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure. But I think that you do use different muscles for those different tasks.
Okay.
You know, directing is one thing, producing is another, but also the same muscles. It is hard to take off the director's hat when you're just producing. But the truth is, I have a pretty wide variety of things that I like. You know, it's not like there's just one way that you can do things, and there's nothing that makes me happier than you talk with a director about a project and you say, this is what we're thinking, can you do that? And then they come back with something that is so wildly different but better, you know. Sometimes they don't, sometimes it's just fucking different. And then you get the uncomfortable part of being a producer and go, no. And you know, and you have this discussion with artists over the years, and people will say, oh, but it's subjective, and so, you know, what you're saying is maybe you don't like what I'm doing, but that doesn't mean it's bad. That's not true. Sometimes it's objectively bad, right?
Or maybe I prefer my subjectivity.
But I don't think it is that. I think that you could be. There's a lot of artistic decisions that are subjective.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
No, of course.
But there are a lot that are not.
Yeah.
And they're not all subjective. So I think just distinguishing between like what maybe you like blue and I like red, and what is just an ugly color, right? That's a tough one, especially if you're the artist that made the ugly color. It's tough to hear, you know.
Yeah, of course. But it's a path of growth, of course.
Yeah.
So now we are going to the postcards.
Okay.
So I have like references to different projects that you did and you were involved.
Okay.
So you could pick each one randomly to talk about it, or if that is too much tension, I don't feel so, we could flip all of them and talk about all of them?
No, let's do one at a time.
Random select. Yeah, like Mortal Kombat.
Oh, do you want me to turn them over? Or is
The one that you want, you grab it and you see what is
Okay.
underneath.
But you said Mortal Kombat. Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, beautiful. Could you show it to the camera? The poster? Yeah.
Terminator Dark Fate.
Beautiful.
What can I say about Terminator Dark Fate?
I have one question. Say
Uh-huh.
whatever you want, but regarding this, and I was thinking about this problem that keeps coming back. So do you have like a creative struggle that it keeps coming back and you can't deal with that?
You mean, is there like, what is the hardest part of the creative?
Or maybe you have like something that chases you and you say, I have to deal with this again and again and again.
Yeah, well, that would probably be my own limitations as a director or manager or artist. That I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing artists, and it could be anything from Jim Cameron on Terminator to David Fincher on Love, Death, and Robots to Alberto Mieglo on The Witness in Hibaro. And you see, or I see anyway, I'm not as good. Like, I'm not as good as David Fincher on my best day of my best year of my, not close. You know, I'm not Jim Cameron. Jim Cameron's fucking genius. You know, that doesn't mean that every decision that David Fincher makes or Jim Cameron makes is better than I make. No, but on the whole, I'm not in their league. I can't do what Alberto does. He's got a unique vision that. On my best day, on my best year, I don't have the artistic savvy that he does, the way he looks at the world. So dealing with that and still being in a position of power and having to argue with these people that you know are better than you, or tell them, or get in the way, that's sometimes a difficult thing to do. Other than that, I'd say the thing I have the most problem with is I just want to do everything, and there's just not enough time to do everything, and so I get greedy, and I take a bunch of projects that I think are interesting, and then I don't have the time to do any of them the justice that they deserve.
Okay.
But Terminator, back to that, it was an amazing experience and also a traumatic experience.
Okay.
It was my second movie, so I went from a $60 million movie, which from nothing, to a $185 million movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was the biggest movie star in our generation. So it was a big deal, but not traumatic in that way. The biggest part was it didn't do as well as I thought, and I arrogantly thought that. Whatever as a nerd, I thought I want to see this movie, and this is the kind of movie, and this is the way I'd want to do it, and I thought that other nerds would feel the same. They did not, which goes back to the subjectivity, objectivity, right? It turned out to be subjective, and I thought it was objective.
Okay.
I think I made a good Terminator movie, but some people did not. Some people didn't like the fact that we killed John Connor. But here's the weird.
That's a bold move. Yeah.
I'll tell you the weirdest thing though. But see, to me, like Jim Cameron is in the writers' room with us, and Jim's like,
if he's approved it,
Jim is like, I think this is a good idea, right? Because you need to clear some actors off the stage so you can tell a new story. But the weirdest thing is, you don't do this shit in a vacuum. We've tested the fucking movie like 3 times with big audiences, like 300 people, 200 people. Never came up in the cards. Never came up. Nobody ever said, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't kill John Connor. It is like one of those, and then of course it becomes the thing that is most talked about. It's weird to me. See, I still think it was the right decision to do, but I also understand why some people feel betrayed by it.
Okay. In relation with that, I will ask you that first car.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a beautiful short. If you
Golgotha.
you could say something about that. Then I will say something to you.
Okay. What I like most about this is when, like, I find all the stories for Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah.
And when you find a story that is so complete in its very short form, it feels satisfying. I like different kinds of stories. Some can be open-ended. It's just it's the beginning of a story, or it's just a moment in time. And they're all, the beauty about short stories is they can be different things, whereas movies should be, I think, more structured. But this one felt very satisfying. You come into it, you understand what it is, and it concludes in a very dark, but maybe, hopefully, funny way. Yeah. But I really enjoyed it.
So what I could say about that, bear with me.
Please.
I have a crazy theory about that. And for me, and you're the only person that could hear that. And maybe after all this, you will say, nah, but I will do it anyway. I think that the priest is a clear reflection of you. The priest is Tim Miller because of a few things, like in the Drown of the Giant,
Drowned Giant.
Drowned Giant. It's also about a guy that is contemplative in the beach and see death and life. So both shorts are directed from you. So I felt that there is something of you there in a beach being contemplative. And I feel that this is being you. And the monster is the Terminator franchise that came in a sphere. And when you're approaching there, of course, it's like it has an impact on you. And I saw in many interviews that when you were like about to do Terminator, you say to yourself, and everyone was saying, "Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck this up." So when I saw this, I said, "This is Tim," and everyone is saying, "Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up." But the story is written, and it's a dark fate. And at the end, you're the only one that saw the resurrection.
That's an interesting theory. I don't think it's true, though. Or maybe it's true, and I'm just not aware of it because I read it. There was an interesting quote. I think it's Kierkegaard. Life can only be lived forwards, but only understood in hindsight. I could be getting my philosophers wrong, but it is an interesting way to say, if it is, I'm not the one to see it, right? Okay. I'm not the one that would be able to understand my own sort of obsessions, but
now that I say, you see some similarities.
But I think you can I think that's like looking at clouds and saying, I think that one looks like Valkyries riding to the.
Okay. You want to turn another one?
Okay. Swarm.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, my season 3 short story.
Regarding to this,
that one is it's a short story by Bruce Sterling, who wrote 4 short stories to warm up for a novel called Schismatrix, which is an amazing novel if you haven't read it. Okay. And they're all set in the world of that novel. So, but back to your earlier assertion about my philosophical leanings, this one and Golgotha, and to some degree Terminator, there's a lot of philosophy in them, or at least not philosophy in the deepest sense, but examination of existence. And this one I loved because there's a lot of examination of why humanity is what it is and the struggles it faces. But what I learned is often the thing that I like best about a short story doesn't really translate to the screen. And so I had a lot of dialogue about evolution and that's from the story, and I fucking loved it. That's what, it was my favorite thing. But then I put it in the movie, and I'm like, fuck, this is slow. Fuck, this is boring. And I have to pull it all out. And it's not just me. It's like anybody who watches it would feel like, show me some more fucking monsters. Don't talk about evolution. And so you cut out all this stuff that you love. And I seem to be learning that lesson over and over again.
Okay. Yeah. And regarding to Swarm and that scene, I tend to think like there is what speaks through you as a creative, as a director. What energy, I don't know, dreams, what things are using you as a tool to say what? To express what?
There is one theme that I feel like always this one in particular, the Afriel, the male character at the end, says he takes it as a challenge. He's put in this terrible position, and he takes it as a challenge. And there is something in me that, again, is probably fucked up. I'm not sure why it is, but there's something about me that likes it when things go wrong.
Okay.
I like it because if you...
Well, as a humans, we enjoy a little bit of
Do we?
victimization, pain. Yeah.
Do we? I don't
essence,
know. I mean, the Chinese curse of, may you live in interesting times.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everybody feels that way. But I feel like if I like heroic stories, right? I don't like stories that are depressing which is very European, I know. But I like heroic stories.
Just to make sure, I'm from Argentina.
Okay.
So
heroic stories is
no. But what is it? If you say like a
I can't
European,
I can't
look at
lump
me.
you in with the
I'm
rest
from
of-
Argentina,
yeah,
so
that's
yeah.
true. But you still,
Look Irish.
but you sound, you
Yeah.
look Irish and you sound.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't have an opportunity to be a hero unless you're in a situation that's fucked up, that's gone wrong, that's slipped sideways in some way. And so when things go wrong, that's when I feel like, oh, okay, well now it's time to step up,
shine,
and now it's time to not fold. Now it's time to not despair and to lead and show people that we're gonna fucking fight and get through this. And I really love that when heroes.
So kind of like express yourself that you can, and you can face the challenge, and it's like a CrossFit for the soul, something like that.
Totally. And I tend to pick stories that I want you to. They could be super dark and terrible things happen, but you feel like maybe they're going to work through it, or something.
Okay, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Please,
Okay, let's go.
be my guest, literally.
Screaming of the Tyrannosaur. I can see you've
For
got
me, also, a
Tarna.
clear-
You've got a theory here that
Yeah, a clear homage to heavy metal. That was like I thought that I think that it was very impactful for you. It was for me, and seeing that and seeing all that violence, nudity, and say, what is happening with me with this movie? And this episode, and then after I saw all of that, I saw you saying this is the most heavy metal episode ever. And so I want to talk a little bit about the challenge of this, but also about surviving as a director, as a creative being in this world, like the girl at the end.
This one was interesting because the company that was doing it, I was always direct. Well, I wrote it. It's an original short story, not original. It was a short story, and then Zack Snyder had wanted to do an episode. So I said, Zack, I got the episode for you, and I wrote it. I figured it'd be best to see it in the script, so I put it in the script for him. And then he said, I don't have time. I got to finish Rebel Moon. So I
like
just
6 hours of my cuts in other movies.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you fucking chicken shit, motherfucker. No. So I was just going to put it on the shelf, but everybody else said, no, we see the little light in your eyes when you talk about the story and you put this time into it. So I decided to do it, and I was going to direct it, but Axis in Scotland was going to do it. And then they went under like halfway through, which was pretty traumatic. And for a moment there, it looked like we weren't going to be able to finish it. And then we were able to bring it back into Blur and finish it. But we only had January, February, March, April. We had 4 months to finish.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it looks like the situation you enjoyed most of, okay,
Yeah,
we need to...
exactly. And there is that, the nice thing about, one of the nicest things about owning the studio is, everybody thinks, oh, well, you can just do whatever the fuck you want. It's your studio. Well, you can't. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want. You have to keep the artist happy. You have to make enough money to pay people. You can't just do whatever you want. But sometimes when things are on the edge, like this one was, there were a lot of people that said, in my studio, you're going to kill some artists here, Tim. You're going to burn some people out. Yeah. This is going to be painful. We're not sure we can do it. And I said, yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can do it, and more importantly, we are going to do it, and we're not going to lose money. We maybe not make any money, but that's okay. as long as we don't lose any money.
So
and
not only yes we can, yes we want. Right?
yes, I
Is-
think
is
I think
also-
it's I think sometimes it's,
because sometimes you can, but you die in the process. But if you want, there is another type of energy there.
and you also feel, and I said, listen, I'm gonna, when we took it back from Axis, it was like 14 minutes. I said I'm gonna cut shots, but they don't believe me. So but I did. It's 11 and a half minutes, which is like amazing that I could squeeze that story into 11 and a half minutes. Not amazingly awesome. I am. It was amazing because there was so much story. But that you're just gonna throw the gauntlet down and say we're gonna do it, and I don't want to kill anybody. So let's help me figure out how not to
A good
kill.
pipeline, a good a plan.
And we did it, and we didn't kill anybody, and everybody got behind it. Sometimes, but my concerns are, it's not just do it because I want to do it. I think the show needed it. Like we needed a big, gratuitous, violent
Of
dinosaur
course.
epic because you have to balance the philosophizing and the sweet stuff. So I thought we needed it. I thought it was good for the show, which I care about very deeply, and so I'm making that decision because of those things. Whereas other people are looking at the health of the studio and the artists and the budgets and.
But for
and
instance,
I
you
care
have
about both.
doing a lot of stuff in the studio. You have a situation like this, and you say, okay, let's stop everything, put everything on hold, and let's focus on this, or just
No, we can't.
This team of 10 people, just like how do you manage that? Because you are doing other stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it has to be. We can't stop doing everything else, Yeah. So, and we can't steal. Like, I can't go, okay, give me all the best people I'm going to put. No, I can't. You have to be fair about it and say, well, let's put a team together that can do it. And once everybody, it seems like a monumentally difficult thing. And then, like anything, you start breaking it down into steps and a process, and you get a plan together, and then people they get on board because they can see that there's a path forward that is not impossible. I don't sit in there and go, well, I know we've never done a second a day per animation, but we're going to do it here. I go, well, we usually average 2 seconds a day. So, but can we get down to 1.7?
And also is the level of complexity of the dinosaurs with the fighters and stuff with the slaves and all the simulation, the sand, the level of craziness that I get to manage. But the scale of the episode is is not comparable with others, I guess.
No, it's big, but I think you talk to everybody. Like, what is it that worries? You go to the animation supervisor. In this case, we had almost all the animation supervisors on at one time, and they broke it up. But it's like, what are you guys worried about? Are you worried about the dinosaur animation? Are you worried about the simulation of the muscles? Are you worried because I'll forego simulation of the muscles if I have to.
Or maybe that way,
I didn't have to, but
I was thinking about that all the people with the glasses have cloth simulation, for instance, but all the fighters don't. And I said, maybe that is a clever decision of let's make like a badass texture, but without simulating any else.
And everybody's got short hair, and everybody, all these things that I can do
decision
that I don't think people know. Like, I don't think it takes away from the creative decision, And sometimes I feel like I do that too much. Like Alberto Miegla's, I look at Hibaro and I saw the design for that woman.
Oh my God.
And the story, and I'm like, she's got gold necklaces on and hair, and he's putting it in water and a river the whole time. I'm like, you're just designing it to kill animators.
And also choosing, the bone cap is only a reference.
Exactly.
You say, it's beautiful, but why?
But that's the way he works. I'm not bold enough to do that because I can only think about like the pain and suffering, and then you try and weigh the importance of things, and different directors do that in different ways. Some director, if they're more animation focused, they'll spend more of their time on that. Some care more about the lighting, some care more about the story, and they'd rather sacrifice like 10% image quality to get the story they want.
Yeah, that is something that for me is like very intriguing because after years and years of working on my side and my scale, not Blur scale, I understood that even if you have like kind of like not shitty quality but medium quality, but the story is really good, at some point you forget about the technique and you enter into the story. But when I saw Blur's work, the bar is always here, so that is a challenge as well. So no, we can't lower the bar of quality.
No, but you can do things like you just pointed out, like no cloth, no hair. You don't have to sim, but we did. You try and you cut corners wherever you can, and I think there is a world in which you can design a style of animation, if you can go very stylized, that you can do for less. It's a simpler style, but it's still sophisticated and beautiful, even if it's not cloth and hair sim on every frame, right? Okay. Or realistic animation.
Okay. Yeah, I like super realistic, but
I like both. Take another one.
Yeah, and one beautiful thing was like with Cima Blue, that is incredibly beautiful. But as soon as I start like looking at something in my mind, say, okay, this is not your style, but I said I will watch it anyway, and it's one of my favorite of all time. Super incredible.
Yeah, I just watched it again a few weeks ago. This is
I know that you are proud of this.
Unreal Tournament. Yes, I'm very proud of that one. That was one of the ones where since we do primarily game industry work, I see the quality.
Yeah, are you? Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear you.
No,
I don't think so.
He's recording. Yeah. Camera to me, just a little bit. Just in case, subscribe to the channel. Do you want more of this? Subscribe to the channel, comment something, share, like. Okay, let's back to the book. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So when we were doing the lineup, I talked to my friend Kim Library at Epic, and I said, "You guys want to come in with one?" And he said, "Yes, but only if you do it completely Final Pixel in Unreal." Yeah. And I had been wanting to build a real-time pipeline, because every year it gets closer and closer to the quality that we can do in non-real time. It took a little longer than I thought, to be honest, for them to get parity, but I knew that this was the time and the opportunity. And so they said they would help us to build this pipeline, because rebuilding a pipeline to do all that shit it's not trivial.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, but that was
like the developers. They say, okay, I could make a tool for you if you need something. So it's like a collaborative work between the guys that make the tool and you that will be implementing it.
Yeah, but I honestly think that real-time tech is the future. Yeah, okay. We could probably have a whole podcast on why I think that is, but
next week maybe.
I think that it's going to allow us to like my feelings about AI, which could be another podcast.
It will be
in here. Yeah, but it allows you to tell stories that otherwise I couldn't tell. Nobody would give us enough money to tell these stories if we don't use these kinds of tools, and that's what motivates me to embrace some of the newer technology. It's not that I don't like the way it was done before, but there's types of stories that you're just not. If you're doing a 4-quadrant family film, you're going to get more money to do it than if you're doing a Perdido Street Station, which is a fantastic adult, very serious, very philosophical, non-4-quadrant story.
Yeah, of course.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so how do I make those kind of stories at the quality level I want? I need a new technology. I need a new methodology. And these kind of tools offer the promise of that.
And besides the techie part or like technology barriers, did you felt some kind of like obstacles or only moving forward?
You mean
doing this in a new complete pipeline with this kind of complex story? Did you experience something that you say, okay, I don't know how to solve this, or maybe this could influence, like, I don't know, to solve this part of the story? Like the tech is...
well, they were super supportive of us, but if I go big picture, I have this ability. I saw this interview by Orson Welles. I'm not comparing myself to Orson Welles, but they were talking about the way he used the camera on You should see it. It's online. About the way he used the camera in Citizen Kane, and they're like, it's so innovative and so fresh. And how did you realize that you could do this? And he's like, it's stupidity. Nobody told me I couldn't do that, and I didn't know anything about camera work because it was all new to me. So I just said, well, this is what I want to happen, and they just did it because I was the director. If I had made a bunch of films, if I knew about cinematography, I never would have made that suggestion. So it's pure stupidity. So I go into all of these projects with a stupid ignorance of the difficulty, and I just assume that because we have a bunch of smart people, they will figure it out. There are things that I know are patently impossible, right? We're not gonna
like what?
Well, like we couldn't make a whole film like that for $2 million, right? It's just impossible, right? But I like the things that are nearly impossible, right? Because then you can go, well, that's a problem to solve, and I enjoy solving problems. I think anybody that's in this industry in 3D, there's a component of an enjoyment of problem solving. They like a challenge.
I think that being an artist and being an adult and being in the industry is not being a rigor of generalist. It's being a problem solver. And I'm sure that in Blur, what you want is be surrounded by problem solvers. Right?
Absolutely. But who I think that, like, over my years of working with hundreds of artists that have come through Blur and elsewhere, my favorite kind of production artists are the ones who don't like doing it. They don't, because if you love to do something, you're going to spend as much time doing it as you can. But if what you love is the result, like if you like animating more than you like having a shot finished and seeing it, you're going to spend more time animating it, and that's not a great production artist. So
or maybe a balance.
Well, you have to enjoy it to a degree.
Because you only are looking for the result is kind of like...
Yeah, but then when I was a production artist, I would use anything that got me from what I had in my head from nothing to what I had in my head. If that meant a cheat or a new tool or coming up with a new way of doing it, I wanted to get to that result faster. I still enjoyed the whole process, so you're right.
But yeah, talking about only getting the result, we came to the AI, and that is something that for me has some problems as an artist, and you have to kind of like I was talking with another guest about this, about you have to deconstruct that super finishing in order to get something similar that will never be similar, instead of building from something, so and also I know that you have a vision as a director that you build up versus Fincher that has the image and and go backwards. That is kind of like the AI or something like that. So I don't know if everything that leads you fast to the result is good if you lose in the process. If what makes you an artist is delegated to something else.
I agree, but I have a feeling that what you'll find is that there'll be another thing that if you can get to the process faster, you'll get there and go, oh, that's not quite what I wanted, and then you'll go and try something else. And instead of having to, because it is again, I don't feel stressed like normal people, but when you start a process, you go, we're going that way, and this is the result. Everybody get behind me. And sometimes you're wrong. And so you have to, and then you go all the way down there and you get to that end result and you go, fuck, I had this was a bad idea. I wish I could have, seen this coming, but I couldn't. So I'm as terrified and as excited about AI as anybody out there. But I also think some stories are just not able to be told unless we embrace some of these new tools. Okay. And if I go up to the 30,000 foot view, brother, the toothpaste is not going back in the tube. And just pretending that we can change the world or not look at what's happening, I don't think it's going to work. Even though I realize that means that it's going to be a great deal of upheaval in the industry. It's not, everybody thinks that they can rush blindly towards the cliff and they can say shit like, well, there's not the amount of control in AI that, and I go, yeah, this week. But what happens next week and the week after?
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know, but I know that you can't just pretend it doesn't exist.
No, of course. But the thing is that for me, is embrace them as a tools, but not like leaving out what we are as an artist. Because it's like the meme that says there is a new AI that tastes ice cream for you. But I want to taste ice cream.
Yeah.
They say don't block the progress or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like, yeah.
And I see this weird thing. I talked to some other studio owners at Annecy, and I noticed a strange thing at our studio where when I was on the box and animating, I was always looking for the next tool, the next cool way to do something. And I don't feel that with AI. I don't feel that the artists are going, oh my God, look at this fucking thing. Because they realize that it could mean their friend no longer has a job. It could mean the industry is, where's it going? It could mean that there is no industry, and so it's terrifying, and so they don't want to explore because they're afraid of where they may end up. But my answer to that is, you just can't close your eyes and hope it goes away. And my question to the studio and the artists there is, I would rather have us decide like how to use these new tools and what we can do with it and how to make it really tell the kind of stories that we want, than leave that to somebody else that just goes, well, I'm just going to start a new studio that does AI and do shit as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that either, right?
Okay.
I don't want to do the same thing with less people. I want to do bigger things.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next go.
Another beautiful
How Zeke got religion.
homage
It's
to me,
beautiful. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is a clear homage to the heavy metal, but the difference on this is that in heavy metal everyone dies, and in this one, Zeke got religion and learned something.
Yes.
So what you've learned
From
from whatever
from
you
this
want
one?
to say, but from heavy metal, from pitching that so many years, from being able to do Love, Death and Robots, from
This is a good example, and to some degree, some of the other ones in this season, somebody pointed out there's a lot of religion positive cinematics in here, and that's because I've found God. And I have not found God. I'm the most anti-religious guy you will likely find. I don't care for organized religion, and it's funny because I got a really nice note from the author and the other day, and he is a teacher at a religious school, and he said, what I like best is that you embrace the religious aspects of the story, to which my response is, because I like the story, and I don't have to. I don't believe that dinosaurs are going to exist in space, and I don't believe that that there is a guy named Sauron and he made a ring. But they still make really great stories,
Yeah, exactly.
and in this case, the religion is the reason for the story and part of the story. So it's not that I believe that it's not a statement of personal belief. It's a statement of it works really well as part of the story. But it was the same thing with Golgotha. And there's a few other religious moments in some of the stories, but I love that one. And yes, that one is very conscious homage to heavy
Beautiful.
metal. Yeah.
So it's like,
for sure.
okay, we are doing heavy metal. Maybe it's not like a full feature film, but it's another format. But it is our dream to do adult animation.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and make homage to that.
And of course, we chose Titmouse because that it was part of the homage, but it's so much better than I could have imagined. They did such an amazing job with the short. It's just, it's beautiful, every frame.
Yeah.
And part of the great joy of being doing Love, Death and Robots is we get to see this stuff come in. I get to see the pencils, I get to see the layouts, I get to see, and watching the
As
sausage.
a child, that seems like movie magic. The show and see all the behind the scenes of
Yeah, and I'm wishing I could draw like that.
But you were an illustrator. You did
I
like
was.
comic. You keep illustrating?
A little, but
Maybe not for the production, but for yourself?
I was never as good as they were. I mean, the reason I didn't do it is because I realized that I was never going to be. I wanted to be a comic book artist, but I realized I didn't have the command of anatomy.
It's super hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
And then when you see people that have it, they just have it. It's not like. Yes, you can
But
learn.
you don't born with it. It's studying and like.
Yeah. Well, that's another of this fucking American bullshit that I think happened in the last 20 or 30 years, where you go to the kids and you go, you can be anything if you just try hard enough. Well, no, you can't. No. Kobe Bryant trained very hard to be the best basketball player, but Kobe Bryant had an amazing athletic ability.
Genetics.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's the mindset that elevates you, but you have to have the skill. If you don't have some kind of competency as an artist, no amount of training is going to get you there.
Okay.
You can be better,
Of course.
but you're never going to be Kobe Bryant.
That's like the
Yeah.
another one.
Okay.
The last one, and then we will
Oh, you want to
flip the rest, and we will.
You want to pick it? Then do you know which one is?
No.
Okay.
I did it blindly. Beautiful.
Oh, this is New World. This is the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This is incredible. This frame tells it all. It has to go through turning this crown into the arm, turning his like a boss position to be a friend, to get the real crown, and also he's on his knees and putting like letting the ego out. And it resembles to me to the anecdotes that I heard from you on the set of Terminator, to the guys in the factory saying,
getting on
please,
get on my knees. Yes.
So, and something about, I want to know about like being a leader and deal with this on being maybe on the top of the chain in some cases, but also being a friend and dealing with being closer and more horizontal structure with people. What takes to be a leader for you, and etc.
Well, I was 50 when I did Deadpool, so I
have 7 years still. I have 7 years still to do something like that.
You can make it.
Yeah.
And I think that what I had learned in that time was my personality was kind of set, and I'm a big believer in exposed vulnerability, right? If you tell people or if you ask people for help, they will help you. If you pretend you don't need it, they'll go, fuck this guy. He thinks he knows everything, and you don't get the benefit of it. Whereas the secret is, if you ask them for help and they help you, I get the credit for it anyway, right? And so instead of people talking shit behind your back because you clearly don't know everything, you get the benefit of people helping you make something great. And the project benefits and you benefit and they feel better and the whole set is a much better, happier place. So, my one biggest piece of advice, and Jeff Fowler, who was a director at Blur and an animator for 20 years, Jeff left to do the Sonic movies. And that was always my piece of advice, is just to tell the crew, hey, I'm here to direct, but I really could use your help because I don't know what I'm doing. Jeff's like, that's the best. That's the secret ingredient to all of it because everybody wants to help and feel like they're a part of it. Sorry, I forgot why I got off on that tangent, but that's my biggest piece of advice. And you can do the same thing with your company. And I think when you're younger, you're afraid to say, I don't know. But I think it's the most powerful phrase in the world.
Of course.
Yeah, and I don't know. Tell me more. What do you think about
it? And if you are willing to learn and to grow and to help, etc., to be at service.
Just today, somebody said you have to give a little speech tomorrow, right? At my awards thing, and I said, well, could you get some information? They came back and they said, yeah, you got to speak for anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. And I said, and what else? And they said, well, what else do you need to know? And I'm like, well, who's in the audience? What are most of the people here? Are they students? Are they professionals? What's the industry they are? Because I want to gear my talk to be the most useful it can be. So ask some fucking questions. They're not just here to see Tim Miller. They're here to get some relevant advice on whatever
happens.
They're
When a position like you are and the experience that you have, for me, that is the interesting part.
Yeah.
Knowing not only, I have lures, I want to know what you have to strive to get there.
And I could tell you my story, but that's not the only story.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah. But I want to hear your story.
Yeah, I can tell you what worked for me. But whenever I say luck had a large component, then you feel like whatever advice you're giving is like, okay, so, there was a joke. It's like, I can tell you how to have $1 million and never pay taxes. First, get $1 million. Then, that's kind of what I feel like.
Yeah.
But in that one, unit did that one, and the whole story was sort of formed around the fact that I happened to. It sounds like I'm bragging. I happened to be having breakfast with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I said, "Hey, we're doing this thing. Would you be in it?" He's like, "Sure. What do you want me to do?" And I said, "I don't know yet, but would you be in it?" And he says, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And then I made him tape it on my phone, so I have him say it. I'll do whatever you want. And then Dave Wilson, the supervising director, worked with the writers and came up with the story, which is a perfect use for him. And what if Conan was all talk?
It's incredible.
And and then Unit did a great job, and Arnold is really funny, and the whole story it's one of my favorites. And if you didn't notice, the Persian king is Gabe Luna, who is the evil Terminator.
Oh yeah, okay,
in my Terminator movie. So
okay, it's everything connected. Okay, let's flip all the rest.
Okay,
so we could talk wherever you feel like it.
Ice Age, another Love, Death, and Robots. Deadpool.
Drowned Giant, we talk about it, and Beyond the Aquila Rift.
Beyond the Aquila Rift.
Which one do you want?
I'll hit a bunch of them really quickly.
Okay.
The Drowned Giant, tied to New World. Stephen Pacey is this British actor who reads my favorite books of all time, the books of Joe Abercrombie. They're brilliantly read audiobooks. Stephen is the voice of the narrator in The Drowned Giant, and he's also the sidekick in the New World episode, and that's him giving the performance too. So that's his facial scan. It's really interesting. This one, it's funny that you picked that one because that is a joke that has a T-Rex in it.
Okay,
and
for
this
me,
is my favorite joke. One of my favorite jokes in the movie.
Oh, beautiful! I nailed it.
Everyone all dinosaurs fear the T-Rex.
On that one, what I was thinking is that Deadpool is fragmented inside and outside. He loses limbs.
You're way too deep, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just going for laughs here.
I go like a therapy 20 years ago, something like that. So, but it regenerates. So that is one thing that I wanted to ask you. If you was like dealing with stuff, losing parts of you, but you learn how to be resilient on this industry. Pitching how many years heavy metal?
Maybe 20. It was maybe 2004 when. No, it was before that because before Fincher got involved, I was actually pitching a thing. We tried to pitch heavy metal. It couldn't happen. It was me and Kevin Eastman who wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but also owned heavy metal. We were friends, and we couldn't do that. And then we were going to pitch heavy metal war games, which is actually kind of what Secret Level is, where we were going to get game franchises and make a heavy metal with them. And then I met Fincher, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And
beautiful.
And
based on this success,
and it was heavy metal.
Love and Robots came in, right?
Yeah. Well, we tried to get heavy metal like 100 meetings.
Oh my God.
With Fincher and I. And everybody thinks that it's easy if you're David Fincher or.
No, I don't.
It's not.
But you learn like the resilience. I don't know what you get about.
You do, and Guillermo del Toro. I went to a screening. I love Guillermo. He's fucking amazing. And he said, everybody thinks it's easy, and I've done 12 movies, but I've developed 42. And I cared about every one of them, and they just didn't happen for one reason or another, and so that's what happens. There's a lot of projects like that for me that are sitting there, and I try,
waiting,
and it doesn't happen, and I try, and it doesn't happen, and I try, and it doesn't happen, and then eventually it does. I mean, I may die before some of them happen, so I can't say I'll always win, but so far, just being persistent is like the biggest piece of career advice is just keep showing up,
Of course.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the guy in the back, you only need 5 moments to be a hero, something like that. So you have some moments where you felt, okay.
5 moments is all it takes.
I am being a hero here.
Yeah.
You have some moments in your career that you say,
where I felt like I've been a hero? Whoa. No. I don't feel like that. I always feel like
or maybe
I squeaked by
happy or fulfilled. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. For Deadpool, I felt like I didn't fuck it up. That's what.
It's amazing.
That's what I felt like.
Okay.
I felt like I could have fucked this up massively and destroyed my professional life.
Okay.
But I didn't, and I felt very grateful for that. Ryan gave an amazing performance, and he was born to play that role, and everything went well. And I was in the right place
Yeah.
mentally at that time. I had learned enough. I think one of the best skills you can have to direct a movie is having run a company, because a lot of movie making is managing people and getting them to go in a direction you need without having them totally hate you.
Okay.
And that's much like running a company. Ice Age, live action. I wanted Love, Death, and Robots to include live action. And I particularly like VFX-driven live action.
Do you know that
Stories?
thing that when you are like in a relationship, you ask, "What's today for dinner?" until you die? So that's a relationship. So when I saw this, I say, "Okay, you're seeing all the ages of the world inside the fridge." So for me, what's something
What's
like that?
happened to dinner?
Yeah, it's like being that, but in all the history.
This is my pet peeve in relationships for dinner. That every relationship I've in, I try and avoid this question. If you say, or your girlfriend or boyfriend says, "What do you want for dinner?" and you go, "How about Thai?" and they say, "I was thinking Italian." I go, "Why the fuck did you ask me then?" Like,
In the first place.
yes, just don't ask me, because I'll eat Italian if that's what you want.
Amazing, amazing.
That's my pet peeve. That and people that stop walking in the middle of the sidewalk. Like they're just going to look at their phone, and I'm like, come on, people
I
walking.
was
here.
talking the other day
What the fuck?
with a friend about the kids that are just doing like the motorcycle of Tron that just is 90 degrees, and you say, "What the fuck is going on?" So I'm aware of that, and I hate it as well.
Step over to the side and then talk. Beyond the Aquila Rift, so many people say that's one of their favorite episodes. Again, Unit, the same
me, it's incredible.
company that did New World. A great little twist on the end of
For
it.
me, it unlocked a level of fear that only you understand when you're an adult. That is like craziness level of fear, and the shape of the woman that is instead like a spider or a monster. Oh my god!
Oh, yeah. And still a sympathetic character.
Yeah,
Same author, Alistair Reynolds, as Zima Blue, too.
oh,
It's great.
beautiful.
Yeah, everything he writes is great.
So we kind of like reached the end. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
think
you.
I think we covered all your cards. There.
Yeah, if you want to say something else, but before that, this is for you
Oh, what is
to
this?
keep opening good conversations.
La Bicicleta Creativa.
Yes,
Did
exactly.
I get it? Did I
in
get
Spanish,
it? Almost right?
perfect.
Ah, that's a keychain.
Yeah,
I like
that
it.
open.
I love it. Thank you. Is it gold? No.
Yeah.
Is it it's solid gold?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? It's solid
Yes.
gold? Oh
24K.
my God. Amazing.
Bruno Mars sent me this to me
This
for
is worth
him.
like $20,000.
So,
It looks more like chrome.
anything you want to say to the audience, to the
I'll say when I saw this season of Love, Death, and Robots came out, we got a little more hate mail than usual from the fans, and I know everybody tells you this: don't read the comments, but I read the comments because I think it's important to understand how people take. I'm not doing this for myself. I mean, I am, but I'm also doing it because I want to entertain people. And I don't mind it when people say, I didn't like this short as much, or, why did you put a music video in there? And, I wanted a story, to which my answer is because I like music videos and I thought it was really cool. And, you didn't like it? Okay, well, that's fine. But sometimes the level of discourse on the internet, when people can hide behind a false identity, they say these things that I think are nastier than they need to be, or at least unhelpful. And so some people would comment on the last season and say, it looks like they didn't try as hard, or it looks like they spent the money on beer and pizza, and it just makes me sad, because it's the same group of artists having the same approach, the same love for the material, the same story process, the same dedication to trying to make something entertaining. Whether it succeeds or not is in part a subjective, thing. But even if you read the comments, it's like one person loves this one, the next person hates it. You can see there's some subjectivity, but I feel like that anybody who steps into the arena and puts themselves out there should get a little credit for.
Yeah.
Not that I need credit, but the work should be given the credit of existing. Nobody tries to make a bad movie, for instance. And for us, the same love and dedication goes into every season that we've done. It took longer this time, and I'll take responsibility for that. But the sort of anger, it just makes me feel a little sad. But that's all right. I wish people would recognize that everybody's trying hard to make something
There
great.
is love, death, and robots behind the show.
Yes.
Also,
There is and it's not every story is meant to be about love, death, robots. It never was. It is meant to be
It's the excuse to tell
to
stories.
do anything, including music videos. If I had a music video in there from the first concept of the show, we just didn't do it until now. Not this one, but other ones, because I think music videos were
It's another genre, incredible,
hugely formative ways of storytelling. Because I'm old and I grew up with MTV and liquid television and all of those things were incredibly formative. But anyway, that's it.
Incredible. It has been a real pleasure to chat
thank
with you.
you.
Thank you for coming.
I wish that I felt as deeply or thought as deeply as you suggest I do about these
That
things.
is my role. You need to keep running Blur Studio.
Okay.
So thanks, guys. Of course, I am like maybe tired,
And
but
ladies.
and ladies and gentlemen and everything. Huge thanks to Mirabeo for creating this beautiful space. Let's recap. Manupa, Jorge, Ushia, Paula, Jairo, Anton, Héctor, Nacho y Vincent. And last but not least, Chris, Alba, y Manuel Mejide, and all the family from Mundos Digitales that makes us feel like home. And please comment, like, subscribe, and follow this guy. He has like 2 followers on Instagram, so please follow him. And the
I
studio,
don't post. I don't trust myself
yeah.
to post.
So we will see you next time in a new exciting episode of La Bicicleta Creativa. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.